everybody. Welcome to another edition of Dream Stories Podcast. We're glad to be back with you again this week. Elisa's out this week, but I have a special guest in the studio with me, a good friend of ours who I guess I've known for most of your life, young man by the name of Ben Roberts, who is here with us tonight.
Here I am.
Whenever it is that we're airing versus when we're recording.
That's right.
We're recording at night. We're airing in the morning.
That's right. That's right.
It's good. So, but Ben's been a part of our church when I was pastoring the Bridge, Birmingham, and way back at the very beginning of it, actually, when it was called Cahaba Christian Fellowship.
Absolutely.
So, and you were about this high.
Yeah, super short, super young. It's a while back.
But we're glad to have you. And Ben is also you're involved in a lot of worship and music stuff right now, I think.
Absolutely.
You want to run with that? What you're doing now with Common Noble?
Yeah. We, my brothers and I, and just kind of a collective of friends, kind of back and forth a little bit. Started writing music. Well, we've written music for a long time, but last year we decided to kind of call it something, and we decided to call our band Common Noble, and we really thought it was kind of funny because in 2020 it was maybe not the most popular or successful sounding idea to start trying to make music in the middle of a pandemic, but we felt led to do so. So we're doing it and kind of coming out with some music, just really seeing the Lord open some doors. We kind of found peace with that, just kind of watching how,
cool.
Things that we absolutely couldn't have done, watching the Lord kind of open doors and close other doors. And it just really has been neat to kind of go along that path, but doing a little bit of video, photo stuff, doing a little bit of music, just try to be occupied in several different ways and always trying to find creative outlets and whatnot. So.
Being occupied, being common noble in an uncommon year.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So glad 2020's over.
Yes,
we're in 2021.
So
see what God has in store.
That's right.
So, but yeah, if you like music, I think you guys have maybe a couple of songs you just recorded that are coming out.
we got one that's out as of right now, and then we just were in the studio recording another one, so it'll be out in June sometime ish,
cool.
Give or take.
So they can find the one you've already got recorded on
Spotify, iTunes, everywhere you like to stream.
Look for
or
Common
download.
Noble. Is that
Common Noble? That's
awesome.
it.
So go check them out. They're awesome and great young men. So I just thought we'd get that plug in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
But Ben, I've known Ben forever, and we talk about dreams a lot, and we've talked about dreams. We've talked about your dreams at various times. Your mom and your dad, we talk about dreams a lot and different things. But you were hanging out, and we needed to record a podcast, and Lisa was not the most chipper at the time.
She was chipper when you offered for me to come up and
be a guest. She was very chipper with that. That's right. She said yes. She was really tired. So we threw you into the mix right in the middle of things.
Here we are.
So I was asking you, we were actually sitting having dinner, and I was asking you what was the most significant dream you remembered. And you said, like, most recent, or what? I said, well, just ever. What's the most significant dream? And I stopped you right there and said, wait, let's record
Let's go shoot a podcast.
So what's the most significant dream you remember?
As someone who I definitely enjoy my dream life, it is not as frequent, as I would like it. I talk to the Lord about that a lot. The most significant dream I've ever had, I don't know. There's one that I have had. It was at the end of last year that I had that I felt was very significant. It spoke to me really strongly in the time that I had it, and I really even felt like it spoke to me after I had it, in other ways. And so if you want, I kind of have it typed out, and it'll kind of help me remember it. But it kind of has two different sections.
Oh, hey, this is a good learning moment too, teaching moment. I tell people all the time when they're doing dreams or they want to share a dream with me, don't read your dream. So look at your notes, but don't read it. And in case people are wondering why I say don't read them, when you write it down, that's important to journal dreams and keep track of them. It's really important to write it down and know what your dream was, to be able to remember it, be able to go back to it.
Right.
But when you're looking at it for understanding or to really share it with somebody or to sort of see where life may come into it, even a second or third time through it, you want to be able to just let it stir up out of your spirit. So I tell people, use your notes, refer to stuff, but also just be free to just sort of share and talk through it too. So
that's really good. Yeah, absolutely. So in the beginning, I remember I was with Chris Pratt and Robert Downey Jr., who are obviously celebrities. They're in movies that we all like. I think at the time,
if you don't know, it's Star-Lord and Iron Man.
Right, there you go. Now you know who they are.
Yeah.
So I remember at the time, probably relatively recent to my dream, I do remember that Chris Pratt at the time was being given a pretty hard time about taking some political stances, and I think even going to the church he was going to. And regardless of that, I remember seeing Robert Downey Jr. post on his behalf and just really standing up for Chris and saying, this guy's a really upstanding guy. He's, he's got great integrity. And so at the time that could have played into the dream a little bit, but anyway, a similar thing was going on. I think that in my dream, if I'm remembering correctly, Robert Downey Jr. was making a post on Chris's behalf. I guess now that I think about it, similar to what actually happened, but it felt even more intentional than what I remember happening in real life. Mm-hmm. And I was there among them. It kind of felt like I was friends with them. And I just remember immediately sharing Robert Downey Jr.'s post. I really, I don't know, as I've followed Chris Pratt a little bit, I just noticed that he's really outspoken with what he believes. I think he's a man of faith from what I can tell publicly. And I remember just wanting to be a part of that. And then seemingly being almost friends with them at the time. I do remember that something else happened after that was related to that, but that was kind of the end of that part of the dream.
Right.
The setting changed completely. Now I'm with my dad and my brother David in this cool, strange type place that was kind of tough to describe. It almost felt like an iceberg, or it didn't necessarily remember feeling cold, but it was like the environment was ice. It was like tall mountains on either side. The floor, it looked like it might be ice. It was nighttime. The sky was clear. Let's see. Notes. So it seemed like there were stars in the sky, almost in the shape of like spaceships. Like I feel vaguely like I remembered seeing like an X-wing shaped star. Like it was kind of specific in that way.
Like constellation type shapes, or
no. Like the star itself was like cool. Like a spaceship. And so we're walking, and I remember what happened, but I'm trying to make sure I get it in the right order. Okay, so we're kind of approaching almost like the edge of the iceberg, so that I can kind of see what's like the ocean. It's nighttime. The ocean's really deep, dark color. I'm now I have visual access to more of the sky, and I noticed that the stars all move across the sky in a very smooth, silky type motion, and now they're all grouped up and hovering over. There's like a city on the horizon of the ocean, and all the stars are kind of hovering over that one spot now. And I think as we approach the edge, very tough to describe, but it's like on this side near in the water, on the water, I can't really remember. It's almost like it was shadows and shapes that were similar to the shapes I saw in the stars, almost as like a projection one way or another. I can't really remember. Mm-hmm. And then my dad, let's see, we all three sat down. Now I had a guitar, and I played part of the song Yellow by the band Coldplay. And my dad asked me to play more Coldplay songs just off the top of my head. He was just asking me, hey, what other Coldplay songs do you know from memory? And I couldn't remember any of them. I think, at first I said I didn't know anymore, but after he gave me kind of a hint, I recalled three more. And I think one of them was the song Fix You, which has the lyric, after I woke up, I remembered that there's a lyric in the song Fix You that says, lights will guide you home, which kind of felt appropriate. And so, this is funny. So at the bottom, I woke up, I used the restroom, and then went back to sleep for like probably 5 or 10 minutes. And I had a second dream where I was in a garage basement type area with John Mark McMillan and his wife, Sarah, and he was sitting at a desk, and almost, when I was telling my mom the stream, it was almost like I don't know if you've seen the movie, it's about Charles Dickens when he's trying to write the Christmas Story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's almost, there's moments in the movie where he's collecting ideas and he's almost in like this creative panic, like he's just kind of like scrambling a little bit, but he's not worried. He's kind of excited. John Mark seemed like he was kind of in that state. He was sitting at a desk. It seemed like he might have been writing music or something, and he was kind of going back and forth between me and Sarah, like almost throwing out ideas or whatever, and we were just kind of there, I guess, as kind of a sounding board. And I think that's it for the most part. That's kind of all I took notes of. That's kind of all that's coming to me. But
cool, yeah. Full of celebrities,
lots of
famous
Robert
people. Jr., Chris Pratt, playing Coldplay's music. John Mark McMillan is what I mean. That's
right. It's a loaded dream.
Loaded, yeah. So tell me what your feelings were. I mean, I got lots of thoughts on that dream. That's a really cool. What some people would say series of dreams. I would actually probably say it's more likely to be a dream in various scenes.
Right.
And a lot of times, I think what people don't always understand is most of the time, even when it's more than one dream in the same night, there's going to be a theme or something that runs through that series of dreams or that series of scenes in an individual dream. And sometimes they can be very, very different. And you do have a theme in that with the celebrity things that run through it, which I think also means there's a spiritual theme as well. But tell me what were your when you wake up from that, and you've been around me talking about dreams and others talking about dreams a lot throughout most of your life, actually. So when you wake up from that, did you feel it significant then?
It definitely felt significant right away. There's obviously meaning came as I thought about it, as I meditated on it, as I told it, as someone told it back to me. You know, meaning continued to stack on top of itself. It was really funny because when I woke up the first time, and I'm typing this out, I always try to title the dream, and I titled it "The Moving Stars" solely because literally the stars moved. But as I was retelling this dream to someone, it was funny. I was like, in the initial part of the dream, you know, you don't see a lot of celebrities these days taking a stand for faith, taking a stand for, you know, these integrous things. And it was almost as if Chris Pratt and Robert Downey Jr. represented moving, you know, movie stars almost. It was like they were moving, you know, moving hearts, moving
people and what,
And so, you know, you could even, you know, argue that the John Mark portion, you know, could also fit into that as well. But it was really funny because I titled the dream "The Moving Stars" in the literal sense. But as I thought about it, I was like, wow, that accidentally applied, you know, to deeper parts of the dream.
But you know what's cool? It's not accidentally. Because I tell people all the time, title your dreams. When you journal, when you're journaling, and particularly like on our website on mydreamstories.com, when people post dreams for interpretation, there's a section that says title the dream.
Yeah.
And a lot of times my students, because we have a mentoring program, which, by the way, if you're interested in, we have a new term starting at the end of April. So just throw that out there. You can find info about that on the My Dream Stories or the mydreamsim.com, either one of them. But when they post there on the website, I tell them title it, and my students will say, "Why do you need to title it?" And really, it's about what's stirring in your spirit. Right. It's just putting down the first things you think, and exactly what you just said is what happens. You'll give it a title, sometimes thinking it's frivolous, sometimes making it funny, sometimes just giving it something to be giving it something, but something will stir up out of it. And you noticed something significant about the scenes of that dream out of your title, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So, but go ahead. What came out of that?
So there were I was definitely in a season where I was making a transition with my personal life in some areas, and it was post decision, but it was bringing confirmation in areas where, I mean, it was layers on layers on layers. It was like an initial layer of, wow, I'm experiencing peace in this area. And then it was almost, as I meditated more on it, it was like, I mean, I remember 2 or 3 times specifically going, wow, that's another place where I feel specifically pointing to confirmation in a decision that I had made recently. And so it was honestly, it was mostly that. So it was really great. It just honestly, it brought peace ultimately is kind of what I noticed.
Well, and I think that's something cool about it. You've got a dream that there's a couple of ways that dreams work. They can point you to something, like somewhere you need to go, something you need to do, something you need to know, wisdom that needs to come into a situation. They can kind of direct us. They can also confirm and reassure us. And, sometimes people think, well, if you have a dream that kind of confirms something or reassures something, it could just be your soul stirred up and you're dreaming about it because you've been thinking about it, you've been working on it. But there's a difference between a soul dream, what we would call a soul dream, where it's just coming out of the anxiety or the stress or the excitement of what you're dealing with, and a dream that you can feel something about it.
Right.
That says this brings comfort, this brings reassurance.
Absolutely.
It's almost as though you can tell the difference between a dream that comes from outside of you reassuring you versus a dream that comes from inside you.
Kind of conjured yourself.
Yeah, which you sort of worked up and worked to. So it's interesting. You kind of felt that out
Absolutely.
of it. And you could feel that impression. And I'm assuming that with time, that reassurance or confirmation or a confidence it gave or peace that it gave has been then again reaffirmed in other ways too, I'm guessing.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, cool. What I love about that dream, and just for I'm gonna share what I see in it, and then you can kind of talk about how you initially saw it versus what I say is a part of the process of unpacking it for the folks who are watching or listening. But I think what's really cool about that dream is you recognized when you woke up the significance of real world events that involved Chris Pratt and Robert Downey Jr. that had impact on why they would be the people that are in the dream.
Right.
They're obviously, we talked, I think last week or the week before, about encounters in dreams, and when spiritual beings show up, or even people can show up. We've talked about that. And it's actually an encounter with those people or with that spiritual being. And in this case, it's cool because following on the heels of that, you're bringing to the table a dream where multiple different people show up. Some people you don't really know, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Pratt. Some people who you know well, your family, David and your dad.
Right.
And some people who I think you've probably met or at least seen,
right,
as in John Mark McMillan and his wife.
Right.
So there's this range of people, but nothing about that dream. People ask, well, how do you know if it's a spiritual being or if it's metaphorical? There's just nothing in the dream that feels like it's an encounter.
Right.
To me, when I hear you say it, and generally speaking, when someone shares a dream like that, there's an emotion or stirring about the people that's just different. It's just, I don't even know how to really describe it. It just feels different when you even hear somebody say something about it.
Yeah.
So you're clearly dealing with metaphor in my mind.
Right.
And so when people ask about, well, how do you know what something represents? In your case, you wake up and have a key that tells you why those two initial actors are important in your dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the interaction they'd had and the posting that they're doing in the dream that they'd also done in real life, which was standing up for yourself. Standing up for your faith, your integrity, your belief system, not letting others dictate to you how you ought to be,
right,
but being who you were created to be. That's what that whole first section of the dream is about. And that if you'll take a stand for who you are and who you were created to be, then there's going to be an affirmation of that from significant sources.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's really the metaphor of Robert Downey Jr. affirming Chris Pratt and you jumping in and being involved in it. And it's saying, when you take a stand for things that are right and true and integrous, others will come to your support where needed.
Wow,
so
really good.
I really think that's your first part of your dream. You get the second part, and it's basically saying your time with family, the time you're spending with those you care about, that you're not being pulled away from those, you're being drawn into a time with them, and you see these spaceships, stars, that's basically coupled with the second Coldplay song that you could remember, because I take it you didn't remember all of the ones that you remembered in the dream.
Right.
You remember some in the dream, but when you wake up, you don't necessarily remember all of them, right?
Okay. Right, yeah, exactly.
So, and then again, how when you wake up, it comes into play, something unlocks the meaning. So you get this line from the dream, the stars will guide you, and you got these stars that are spaceships. And if I see a spaceship in a dream, my tendency is to think you're about to be launched into something significant.
Wow.
So this launching forth into something or moving high in spiritual things. But it's cool, it's in a star, which when I think of star, and for you and I, our faith basis as Christians, a star is very significant. Star is representative of the coming of Jesus and his involvement in the earth.
Wow. So
that second part is, as you draw on the strength of family, you're going to be launched into something amazing that Jesus is going to guide, that the Spirit of God is going to give guidance to, so it will propel you to where you need to go. Stand true to who you are. You'll be launched into something amazing that God's going to give you the wisdom to pursue. And then the last part, which I think is pretty cool, because it is a musician who matches your characteristics and qualities of faith-based music. Not all Christian lyrics are Christian songs, but faith-based music.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, that's what I think of when I think of John Martin.
Yeah, same here.
And so the urgency of moving, the creative nature of what's going on there, I think is saying there's an impartation for you.
Yeah.
A release for you into that creative mindset, into that creative approach to things, and that you're sharing in experiences of others where they may have been through difficulty. You've been through difficulty. I know in particular, some of John Mark McMillan's songs, just something I just know naturally, have come out of great tragedy and real hardship.
Right.
There's a cool one, I can't think of right now, about the he had a friend whose son died.
Right, yeah.
And he wrote this song
How
out
He
of
Loves.
that. Yeah. Yes, Oh, How He Loves Me, yeah. Mm-hmm. That song is amazing, one of my favorite songs, but it comes out of a really hard situation.
Yeah.
And I really think what that third part of your dream is saying, as you take this stand for who you are, not who someone's trying to make you, you're going to see support and aid come your way. You're going to draw near to family and core values that the Lord will guide you. God will guide you. The Spirit of the Creator, your Creator, is going to guide you in to things that propel you and launch you in to this significant spiritual place. And you're going to walk out of difficulty and hardship and tragedy and things that seem really tough into something that's going to release your creativity.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that fits with what you were seeing. With
yet even deeper that goes. I mean, I definitely identify with basically everything that you said. So.
Yeah. And so it's just, what's cool to me is that all follows the theme of these celebrities. Step, step, step.
Yeah, absolutely.
Each place. It's the Coldplay song. Because we could real easy in that middle part of the dream focus on your dad and your brother. But what's really the focus is that's the environment you're in.
Right.
When you recognize you're being led.
Right.
The stars will guide you, so lead you, or whatever.
I think the lyric is lights will guide you home. I think it's the end. I had to kind of like sing it a little bit to remember it, but I think that's what it is. The lights will guide you home. So
it's still the celebrity concept, or the well-known, the artist concept there. The movie stars, the sort of general Coldplays are just sort of we would call it secular, just general music arena, and then one that fits the genre that you are a part of and that you really identify with. All are the keys to unlocking those three scenes. Yeah. So it's really pretty cool.
That is really cool.
I love it. So, and you said, I don't remember that many of my dreams.
I don't, but this one came in such great it's funny because it's like I often understand the importance of, like groggy-eyed typing this thing out, because I know I'll forget it. And there are times when I'm obedient and times where I'm not, and I, experience the regret of not being obedient. But this was a time I almost I remembered it so clearly. I was like, I definitely need to take note of this one. But
well, I love it. And that's a real good example for all of you watching. Look, we're going to make, those times when we really are paying attention and we're really emphasizing, recording our dreams, journaling our dreams, and there are going to be times we don't. But we have to trust that we're going to get down what we need to, or that our memory is going to be jogged by our Creator for what we need, for the moment in time that we need it, and for the message that we need to hear to strengthen us, encourage us, and see us through, to affirm us, in your case, with a dream of that brings peace, a dream that brings confirmation, a dream that brings reassurance and confidence in going forward. So I think that dream has a lot more to do, has to do with a lot more than just Common Noble and your music. I think it has to do with a lot of what your purpose and your destiny is. But I'll say this, I also think the whole idea of launching into that Common Noble music phase with your family involved is a part of what it's also confirming. So
for sure.
So it's really good. Yeah. So tell people again how they can find your music. What's the name of the song they're looking for if they want to?
Right now, as of this very moment, we have a single out. It is called Other Side. And like I said, you can download that or stream that wherever you download music, and there will be more music, definitely at least one song coming out before, or maybe just as summer starts. So we're building a set currently that will be a part of the release. So we're kind of not in a huge rush. We're just taking our time, but we'll have some more content out soon.
Hey, it's going to be they're building this set in a garage at a house we own, and I've seen what their concept is. That's going to be cool. You want to see the next song just to see the picture
just the art
that goes with it, the art that goes with it. So it's going to be cool. So it's great to have you. I thank you for just spur of the moment, running up and
anytime
jumping in the studio to do it. We're really glad you could jump in and Lisa could bow out and rest.
That's right.
It's perfect. So
absolutely.
Well, just reminds you, go out to our Facebook page. Dream Stories Podcast is the Facebook page. You've got all the other information, links, and things that are usually on the screen at some point during the video. But if you're listening to us on the audio-only side of things, the best way to find out about things is to use that Facebook page. Like the Facebook page, share the content there, share the YouTube videos, retweet, all that kind of stuff. Like, share, and subscribe to all these different things, and we really appreciate it because that's one of the ways we know that we're making a difference and that you care about the content that we're putting out. Because if you don't do those things, we can get discouraged and just say, we do have our days when we get discouraged and say, nobody really cares about this. And we just say, we should just stop. But about that time, a bunch of you comment or say something or just bring encouragement to us. So we love doing it, but go out and check out the different social media things and share them out there for others as well. So I think that's it, about all the time we've got. Till next time, keep dreaming.